T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Hooray, hooray, hooray. The gang is all here. I see it. They're checking in early for the RP show here on the Game Plus TV network. I'm talking about the Rod Squad, our viewers. They're lighting up the Western Gods text line, the YouTube chat, because we're streaming there. I love them all. They drive me nuts. Let's not get it twisted. But we're all part of one big quirky family here on the RP show, and that includes Scruffy, who's going to be with us in seconds. And Scott Belford will be with us in hour 2, and he can really entertain you and a crowd. He's from the Walkoff Podcast, where he covers Major League Baseball. He's a stand-up comedian. He's coming up in hour 2 of the program. But Scruffy, if you don't mind, I'm going to jump right down to it. The quick six show topics and the warm-up for Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel, which we'll be talking about later. My big story is the NHL, the Stanley Cup playoffs. We're in the home stretch drive. Connor McDavid came out yesterday and had to explain his words from Saturday night. All that, I'm sure that's the rage in Canada where you are. Are you worried about the Oilers not making the playoffs? Where are you on this as our resident Edmonton guy?
I think they make the playoffs, but they certainly aren't going to the Stanley Cup final like they have the last 2 years. They could still win the division. Like, that's
true.
The thing. Like, both them, Vegas, Anaheim, like, all three of those teams could win the division, and all three of those teams could miss.
Fair. Well, as McDavid said, it's a pillow fight in that Pacific Division. But here's my whole thing. Maybe we should call this the "Don't Stop Believing" episode, or because, I don't know. I'm deferring to you on the Oilers, but I'm not throwing the towel in on the Vegas Golden Knights. I kind of am on the Florida Panthers. Even they are, given yesterday's injury news. Which, by the way, Paul Maurice is coaching his 2,000th game in the NHL tonight. And Jordan Eberle and the Seattle Kraken are coming to town, and I'll be there. I'm so blessed, thank you, God and Panthers, for the ability to be there. But, Mitch, I don't know about you. In your circles, is the playoff format coming up? I'm hearing it multiple times every day, despite the fact Gary Bettman said last week at the GM meetings they're not changing the playoff format. People still think they should. That's the poll question today, whether they should change it. Are you hearing that? Do you think they should change it?
I'm not hearing it a lot from the people I talk to. And I'm okay with the playoff format. Now, this year it's a little bit different. But I know the past couple of years, if you take 1 through 8, which people want, those that want 1 through 16, forget it. That's just not going to happen. The last few years, if you go back and look, 1 versus 8 or the current format, there's not a lot of difference in the first round matchups.
No.
And I haven't gone and taken a big look at it this year, but obviously when you've got the 3 teams in the Central that are so far out in front of the 3 teams in the Pacific, I'm sure the first round matchups would look a lot different today. But, you know, like I know Leaf fans were always saying, well, we're going to change the playoff structure. Well, you're still going to play Boston. Like,
yeah, so why do you care? Right.
Yeah, so I don't have a problem with it. This year is a strange year, I think. I think we've all admitted that in the NHL. It's been a very strange year. I don't know if it's because of the Olympics or not, but I don't have a problem with the playoff format the way it is.
Just lob this in. Bill, the gentleman who sent me the Ron and Don bobblehead that you see over my shoulder, he's from Whitby, Ontario. He writes that he says, keep the NHL playoffs as is. See, that's the thing. I largely think those that are complaining are those that are on the outside looking in. And so if they were tweaked, my team would be in, so that's what I want. You know, I think the biggest reason is the geographic rivalries. Bettman never said it. I would love to be a microphone under the desk in their meetings and see why they're so married to this, but they are. But you mentioned the 1-16 thing, which, do you know let me tell you what the playoff matchups would be. And I'll tell you right now, Vegas and Edmonton would not make the playoffs if it was 1-16.
No, I know.
If you really want to get down to it, that's probably what it should be. But I mean, Scott Laughlin today on NHL radio said this morning, Ottawa would be in first place in the Pacific Division. Instead, they're battling in the East. But that's just the way that it is. But Mitch, here's the playoff matchups if it was 1-16. This will blow your skirt up. Colorado, Utah, that's 1 versus 16. Dallas, Philadelphia, that's 2 versus 15. Carolina, Anaheim, Buffalo, Ottawa, Minnesota, Detroit, which is great. Tampa Bay Islanders, which it feels like we've seen for years anyways. Montreal, Columbus, and Boston, Pittsburgh. The only one that's so crazy out of that is Carolina, Anaheim for travel.
That does nothing to me as far as like rivalries and stuff like that. Does nothing for me.
What does?
In fact,
what does?
what?
The 1-16?
That wouldn't excite me in the least.
But they would say the best teams get in. And that's the argument.
No, I understand that. But those matchups wouldn't interest me in the least in the first round.
Well, then you know why they're not changing.
I know. Like this Central Division, and I know Dallas is trying to catch Colorado, and I don't know if they're going to have enough runway to do it. And you know I've said that I think the Minnesota Wild are maybe the Western Conference champions because I really like their lineup. But if the Oilers for some reason don't make the playoffs, or the way the schedule is, Roddy, I'm all over that Minnesota, either Dallas or Colorado first round series because that is going to be great hockey.
Well, you get the top 8 on both sides, so it's going to be good hockey no matter what. But I'll tell you what, if the Oilers miss the playoffs, which, by the way, I can't even remember who I was listening to this morning. I want to say it was Gord Stellick. Somebody was saying that something's wrong in Edmonton, something's missing in Edmonton. We can clearly all see that. So, I mean, if they miss the playoffs, then it's like everybody's got to be fired. Nobody would argue, and here they are starting over again with a new coach and a new GM, but that kind of speaks to the pressure in the market. And, of course, they were analyzing McDavid's comments 6 ways from Sunday. I think we can all agree that if they botch this and miss the playoffs, he's gone when this little mini extension's done. So
I
he'll
wouldn't
be gone.
say that because I think that he, like, you know, he sees where the deficiencies are. And I think, you know, I don't know how much he has to play in the decision-making process, but I think that he knows they've got to be better. But like his comments about John Cooper, I think that they need a coach who's established. And as much as I like Chris Knobloch, it's just not happening.
You said it yourself. Connor McDavid is now the GM of the Oilers. that hasn't changed when he signed that extension. Hang on. We'll break. You heard. We got a break. We'll be right back. 902-518-3033. NFL, March Madness, the Golf League, NBA. It's all coming up right after this on the Game Plus television network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
Welcome back on Game Plus TV and WQVZ. We got a lot of people tuned in today. I got to think that's because of Scruffy, and I'll get to their comments in a second. But first, I got to tell you the warm-up's brought to you by Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the RP Show. Calling all Canadian sports fans, join Uniglobe Carefree's own Neil Chark for an action-packed weekend in Toronto, August 14th to the 17th, staying right in the heart of the city. This unbeatable package includes round-trip flights, 3 nights accommodation, plus 3 exciting major Canadian sporting events, 2 Blue Jays matchups, the Rough Riders and the Ticats. It's an easy, fun, and stress-free way to experience the best of Canadian sports in all-in-one unforgettable weekend. Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com. Okay, I've learned a long time ago, Mitch, the viewers don't like me to out them, specifically my friends. So a former Oilers employee, texted me, says those 1 to 16 matchups are terrible. The playoffs are fine as is. People forget about how the overall schedule affects seeding. So are we done with playoff matchups for now? Or is there anything else you have on that?
No, I'm fine
Okay,
with
cool.
it. As I said, I think you leave it the way it is, because 1 versus 8, as I said, versus what you've had traditionally over the past few years, there hasn't been a big change. So
right, so we've covered it. We've covered it.
Yeah,
it's like those that bitch about the Memorial Cup. They bitch about the format sucks. Okay, come up with a better one. We'll wait.
Well,
some
I
really
have
smart
come up
guys.
with one, but people poo-poo it. So
what?
Well, if you can have the Junior A championship have more than league winners, because there's so many or whatever, add the champions and the runner-ups of each league, with the exception of the league that's hosting. So this year, Kelowna's in, bring the 2 teams from Ontario, the 2 teams from Quebec, and the Western Hockey League champion.
Who says that's a bad idea?
If you can run the Junior A championship in a week, you can do that with the Memorial Cup.
You just blew my mind. Hang on. I wasn't prepared for that. Point 2 of the Quick 6 show topics. And by the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with the Memorial Cup format anyways, but it's golf. Both teams shook off some early miscues, buckled down, and delivered a back-and-forth thriller Monday night in match 1 of the Golf League Finals, with the Los Angeles Golf Club winning 2 points on the final hole to earn the victory over Jupiter Lynx and go up 1-0 in the best-of-3 series with the SoFi Cup on the line. Both teams will be back at SoFi Center tonight in Jupiter, Florida. But there's a twist. Tiger Woods will be back. Tiger's back, Scruffy, in the lineup. Yeah. For the first time all season, looking to provide a spark for his Jupiter Lynx squad. Tiger, Max Homa, and Tom Kim will go against Justin Rose, Sahith Theegala, and Tommy Fleetwood. Okay, so I tuned this in last night, largely because I saw Matthew Tkachuk was there with his gold medal. I don't know where the hell this guy's got time for him and his life partner to get pregnant. The guy is everywhere, Tkachuk. Mind you, she was with him last night at the golf event. But I'm watching this going, I'm not interested. I'm sorry. You say that about flag football. People say that. Watch guys hit a ball into a screen. I'm sorry, Mitch. What am I missing?
Yeah. The PGA Tour is doing this to sort of take away the stodginess of the tour, and it shows these guys having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But to me, when I'm watching this, and I watched it last year the first couple of times, it's just they're playing in a huge indoor golf simulator.
Right.
Like, I could go like 5 minutes away to First Tee Indoor Golf Center in Regina, and can we have an event here? It's good to sort of keep the stars of the game involved, and we see a different side of some of these golfers because they're having fun, which we don't really necessarily see in the final round of the Masters. Hello, Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau. But yeah, it just doesn't do it for me. And like we talked about yesterday, I'll watch football, NFL, CFL, NCAA. I'm not watching flag like that event on Saturday, at least not right now. And
okay,
it's the same with this.
That's...
Like, I'll sit down and watch a PGA tournament, but I'm not watching this.
Well, it's funny because Joe Lazito was sitting on my couch a couple of weeks ago. He goes, I don't watch real golf. Why the hell would I watch this fake golf? So I think what I was sitting there last night going, if I loved golf, I'd really be into this, because I know those people that are really into golf, but I'm just not. So tonight, thank God, I'll be.
The thing is, though, Rod, when the people that watch real golf, and a lot of them are people that obviously do swing the stick with frequency, but when a guy hits a drive and it goes off kilter, and now all of a sudden, okay, well, what's my lie? And what have I got? Like, can I just chip it out in the fairway? And in this, it just sort of looks like, okay, so you put the ball down on this piece of carpet instead of that piece. Like, it takes away a lot of the actual game for me.
Of course.
There's no weather, there's no wind to deal with. Like I said, it's just like playing like in an indoor golf simulator. And for me, that just doesn't cut it.
No. Well, and as you say, though, the stars of golf are there. Our friend Kate Pedersen's there doing something. I don't know what she's doing, but she's there working it. Matthew Tkachuk was there last night. So they're doing, hey, I could see how a lot of people would be into it, but I'm just not real cool with watching guys pound golf balls into a screen. Bye.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Point three of the Quick Six show topics for Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel. How many days of the week are you willing to give the NFL, Scruffy? It started with Sundays way back, then Mondays, then Thursdays. Now we got some Fridays and Saturdays. Are you ready to devote your Wednesdays to the league too? You'd better be. The NFL is going to kick off the 2026 season on a Wednesday night, as the Wall Street Journal reported last week. Meanwhile, there are rumblings that the league is exploring playing a game on Thanksgiving Eve, which is, of course, also a Wednesday. Do you have a problem with this?
There is such a thing as overkill. Now, the opening game of the season, that's a marquee event, much like tomorrow night when Major League Baseball opens up with the Yankees and the Giants. And obviously this year, for me, there'll be a little bit more importance to the opening night game because the Seahawks will be involved as they raise the Super Bowl banner. But there is such a thing as overkill. And you know, we've talked about it even with the CFL games when they have their triple headers on a Saturday. You can't sit there. Like, some of the hardcores can sit there for 9 hours and watch football. As much as I love the game, I can't do that. I need to take at least some sort of a break or whatever. And if you've got a game coming on every night, like Wednesdays, Thursday night football, if the matchup isn't there, I'm not that tuned in. Monday night football, generally, you know, the bright lights, Joe and Troy. You've got establishments throughout North America that have promotions. Yeah, Monday night football is a big thing. Sunday night football, again, what's the matchup? What am I doing? You know, I'm not taking away from something maybe I could be doing just to watch the Eagles and the Cowboys if I'm not a fan of those teams.
Well, I tell you, so what's interesting, this would have been a great poll question too. Would you support NFL football on a Wednesday? Because John Ohm from Winnipeg writes in, he says, NFL, relax. Don't need it everywhere and every day, dudes. Meanwhile, Jeremy, who's also in Winnipeg, says, I don't think it's overkill. It's just it's just more about player recovery. Who doesn't love football? It's more about the players and the product and recovery. Polar opposite opinions there. Kind of similar to the playoff format.
It's funny, though, because you ask people here, there are so many people that love the NFL in Canada. They're okay with Thursday night football, but they hate CFL Thursday night football. Please explain that to me.
Well, people like to complain. What did you say this on the license plates? What's on the license plates this year?
What are we going to bitch about today?
They're replacing Land of Living Skies with license plate XLA787. Say it again.
What are we going to bitch about today?
Right across the license plates. I think it's a great idea.
Right across the bottom of the license plate.
Welcome to Saskatchewan. What are we bitching about today? The Riders won the Grey Cup, so they can't bitch about the football team, so they got to find something else.
Oh, no, bitch about the football team. They just give it a couple of weeks. Like, I'm already hearing it. You know, it's funny. We were talking yesterday about coaches and their popularity. If Corey Mace's decision in the Western Final blows up in his face, there would have been people saying Corey Mace has to get out of town.
He'd have manure on his lawn. Come on. That's the difference.
That's the way it is.
Vintage Sasko writes in on the Western Dodge text line, which, by the way, you can too at 902-518-3033. Western Dodge, drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge, financing, selection, and service you can count on. Vintage Sasko writes in, he says, hey, Padre Pedersen and Minister Mitch, am I getting punked, or is the RP show mascot cat meowing in the background? Regardless, I approve. What's Smokey doing today, Scruffy? Smokey's causing problems there in Casa Scruffy?
He was meowing about something before. I don't know what he was. I sort of went to check on him, and in the break, I don't know what he was meowing at, but
okay, vintage sound. You're not being punked. Yeah. Bob writes in, good morning, Rod and Scruffy. Bob from the Gas City, back watching your show. I missed you for a few days. How about those Montreal Canadiens? They're awesome to watch. Have a great day, guys. Olé, 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 olé.
Bob's from Medicine
They're Canada's best. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bob better go out and watch the Tigers, because that team is, man, they're good. As they're going to take on the Pats in the first round.
Oh, we got some good stuff. Oh, God's team. I'll tell you this. I'm getting text messages from my friends that work for the Regina Pats. There are several, and they love the term that I've hung on the club. God's team. Go out and prove it, guys. You're going to need God to beat the Medicine Hat Tigers, as you know.
I didn't realize until I looked at the numbers, this Medicine Hat team without Gavin McKenna was better than last year's team when it comes to wins.
Yeah, apparently. Imagine if they had him.
And Gavin McKenna could still be with that team, which just tells you how scary they are.
Good one from Jason and Red Deer regarding Matthew Tkachuk being at the Golf League Finals last night. Jason in Red Deer says Tkachuk is there getting pointers because he'll be golfing very early this spring. Matthew Tkachuk's going to need a police escort in and out of Edmonton next time, similar to me needing one in and out of Swift Current. You see what he said about the new rink new rink in Calgary?
No.
It was just the other day he was asked about it, and he goes, well, it's the best city in the area, so they should have the best rink. Like, he's just always – how did somebody not take his head off last week, Mitch? How did somebody not take his head off?
Roddy, again, it just points to the dysfunction in that room. Like we said yesterday, when the Florida Panthers are taking on the Edmonton Oilers, when you consider what's gone on the last 2 years, for that team to come out with the intensity of a bunch of old men waiting for a bus was inexplicable.
I've seen old men more excited waiting for the bus than what the Oilers showed against the Florida Panthers on Thursday night. Which, by the way, when we come back, I do want to talk a little bit while Mitchell's here about the legacy of Paul Maurice as he coaches his 2000th game tonight. Oh, my God. I don't need to tell you how excited I am to be there. I guess there's a wonderful video tribute that they've put together for that. Jordan Eberle's going to be here with the Seattle Kraken. It's going to be a real fun night at the good old hockey game. 902-518-3033. We'll get to the rest of the NHL story. Got a little basketball I'd like to talk about as well. We've got all the topics on the table here today. That's why we call it the Golden Corral of Sports. A little bit of everything for everybody. 902-518-3033 is the Western Dodge text line. And we'll return in a jiff right after this on the Game Plus TV network, YouTube, podcast, and WQVZ.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikasi's Developments Limited.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs.
through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, we got so many comments to get to and not as much time as I'd like with Scruffy here. I'll tell you, though, for the Junior Hockey Report, we do it every day. Go to rodpedersen.com right now. Glenn Erickson's 10 WHL playoff things is the best preview that you are going to find. It's at rodpedersen.com. Glenn Erickson is a freelance hockey writer based in Medicine Hat. And the column is brought to you in part by the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. If you're craving all the legendary ribs that everybody's raving about, go check them out at the Mad Greek in Moose Jaw and ask for Johnny Atreides. Dine in, pick up, or order online at themadgreekeatery.com. Before we do get to the Paul Maurice thing, coaching his 2000th game tonight, David in Winnipeg writes in, David number 2, regarding the NFL moving to Wednesday games now. David says, hey, Scruffy, how many days of the week is hockey on? And before you answer, remember when there was only one night, Mitch? Try telling somebody, a kid, there was a time we only got hockey one night a week, and it was one game.
Same with baseball.
I felt like there was two, Saturday and Sunday.
Rod, if you go back, when the Toronto Blue Jays used to play games on Wednesday night, CTV Regina would not show the game at first pitch because of the time, and they wanted to show the 6 o'clock news. So by the time that they got to the game, sometimes it was like in the 5th inning already.
Well, we had to have the weather from Johnny Sanderson. What a time to be alive.
And now, it's funny you talk about the NFL, and now the 6 o'clock news will get preempted by Thursday night football.
Right? Again, what a time to be alive. Here's right? The thing. You got to have opinions. And what Mitch and I do, it is now the currency of what we do. Up until last couple of years, insider info was the currency. If you had the buzz, the scoop, that was the currency. Now, if you break a story and the teams and leagues don't want you to, they will hang you from the tallest tree. They took that away from us. So now it's opinion. Okay? And so, do I have an opinion on the NFL playing Wednesdays? I don't really. That's the one thing about being the biggest league on the continent. I feel like they're unruinable, Mitch. They're unruinable. They just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the salary cap keeps going up, up, and up. It's $300 million this year. So why would you not think more? They're not they can't fail,
exactly.
can they?
And this is why they're going to Europe, and this is why they're doing this. The Shield is the biggest entity in professional sport, and there's no doubting that. It's just how much can you, and I'm not talking you, the collective football universe, I'm talking you, whether it be Joe in Edmonton or Bob in Medicine Hat or Pete in Lethbridge or whatever. What do you think about the fact that there'll be NHL games or any sport? I don't watch baseball every night, but it's going to be on every day. I don't watch every hockey game, but it's on every day.
Like Tony from Cochrane, when we entered bowl season, he was like, "Oh, these bowl games, how are we supposed to watch them all?" You're not. Watch what you can, or don't watch any. It's a very, very, very crowded, competitive market space. Now, while I have you here, Paul Maurice playing, coaching, might as well say playing 2,000th game. I mean, only Scotty Bowman's coached more. I got a lot of thoughts on this that I will deliver after you're gone when I get into the monologue portion, but the guy's going to the Hall of Fame. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's got his cups, 2,000. He's like 130 wins, between 100 and 130 wins away from being number one all time. Paul Maurice. How do you feel about that?
Everybody I have spoken to that knows Paul Maurice has nothing but great things to say about him. And when the Winnipeg Jets came here to play the Calgary Flames in the Heritage Classic in 2019, my Winnipeg friends told me, if you get a chance just to sort of, be in the same room as Paul Maurice, just enjoy it and soak it in, because he's so good. And he was. Like, Paul Maurice, what you see is what you get. And I think you could say that, or you can't say that about a lot of hockey coaches. But Paul Maurice, I've said this to you on this show before. The best head coaches in the National Hockey League right now both reside in the state of Florida. Paul Maurice and John Cooper. After that, as far as I'm concerned, it's not a huge drop-off between 2 and 3. But when you look at the overall picture, those two to me stand out way ahead of the rest. And both of them, longevity. Rick Bowness would probably be up there. You take a look at the job Rick's done. But yeah, to me, those two guys, when you take a look at the longevity they've had, the success they've had, they've got to be 1-2.
I have to apologize to the viewers. I'll get to their comments after the break because I don't want to squander yours and my time. I've had the great opportunity to be around Paul Maurice a lot here. You know who he reminds me of? You'll get this. Just in terms of his essence, Curtis Hunt. And I'll tell some stories after the break about Hunt.
I can see that, Rod.
He talks like him. He sounds like him. And I'll tell a lot more story. And look at the success Huntsy's having.
And by the way, good luck to Curtis Hunt and the Prince Albert Raiders, because they've done a fantastic job up there this year as well. And if any team's going to beat Medicine Hat in the Western Hockey League playoffs, it might very well be Curtis Hunt and the Prince Albert Raiders. He's done a fantastic job. And if, as I'm on that WHL playoff vein, if you're a WHL fan and you haven't got the Victory Plus app, get it. Because it is great when you can see all the games for free. And I've watched a lot of Pats games this year, home and on the road, for free on Victory Plus. It's just a great app to have. And now with the playoffs coming, get it.
Mark Peterson in Prince Albert, he's a photographer for the Raiders. He writes in, he says, Huntsy's the best. I'll tell you some stories about Huntsy when we come back after the break. One time, Scruffy, I used to sit up with him in the front seats on the bus. We were going from Kamloops to Prince George. We had 6 hours, and I was between wives at the time. He says, would you ever be interested in dating my sister? I said, does she look like you?
I was said that night.
Huntsy saved my life. Well, many times, actually. Oh, boy. There are 2 times. He's busy. Haven't had Huntsy for a while. The last time I saw him face-to-face, we were in the Saddle Dome. He's like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm moving to Florida. He goes, I go to Florida and I get the money. Slapshot line. All the hockey people always quote the Slapshot lines. Anyways, Jeremy in Winnipeg says, Yzerman found John Cooper. I'd have to look at the years, but I don't think so. John Cooper's the longest-serving coach in the NHL. You might be right, but I think John Cooper predated Yzerman in Tampa Bay, did he not? Either or, they're fantastic. John Ohm says, I'm so happy for Pomo, a great coach, an even better person. Yeah, he's just a great guy. That same Jeremy says it's crazy how Winnipeg kind of fumbled their coach.
Maurice come out. Sorry, Rod. You saw the emotion from Paul Maurice come out when they won their first Stanley Cup. And the interview he did, I think, with Kyle Bukauskas. It might have been Scott Oak. But if you haven't seen that, go find it on YouTube. Because he was so gracious, because he had finally reached the pinnacle, and he remembered the people in Winnipeg.
Oh, Winnipeg's very special to him, as he said. He raised his kids there. He's got a daughter still living there. Oh, yeah. That is so him. And that's the other thing. Been in the NHL 30 years or whatever it was, 26 years waiting for a Stanley Cup. That's a long time. I whined, Mitch. I had to wait 9 years with the Riders when I became the voice of the team to win a great. 9 years is a pittance compared to what this man waited to be a head coach in the National Hockey League and win a Stanley Cup. And yeah, we'll talk more about all these things when we come back. Okay, Mitchell, enjoy the sports, and keep in touch.
Be good to yourself, but not too good.
And each other. We'll be back with a sports update after this. Smokey and Scruffy saying goodbye for the day here on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's a crazy time. Just enjoy these 2 hours on the RP show and park the problems outside the walls of this screen if you don't. You want some stories? I got stories. Congratulations again to Paul Maurice, who is coaching his 2000th NHL game tonight, and I'm very grateful and honored to be in attendance, have a chance to interview him afterwards. Just a great guy. And when I say he reminds me of Curtis Hunt, the current general manager of the Eastern Conference pennant-winning Prince Albert Raiders, the older brother that I didn't need because I already have two. I remember one time he was the coach of the Pats. I was the broadcaster. We used to always sit together on long trips we did anyways. We were pulling out of Kamloops on the way to Prince George, 6 hours, middle of the day. I want to say we left like at noon. And he always was mad we had a Gatorade cooler in the aisle because I like to use it to put my feet on. And he hated it, that it was there. It was taking up space. And he got up to go to the bathroom, and he tripped over this Gatorade cooler in the aisle of the bus. And he kicked that thing like he's a big man. Strong guy. And the thing came down, and I said, Duke, to the driver, Duke, stop the bus. And Duke's, why? We'll put the crate downstairs. We'll put the cooler down. Hansi goes, no. I'd rather complain. Stomps off to the back of the bus to go to the bathroom. And that's the thing about these grumpy hockey coaches. Paul Maurice yesterday was asked about coaching his 2000th game tonight. And he goes, I never stopped to think about it. I'm grumpy. It's Curtis Hunt 101. What's he grumpy about? His team's going to miss the playoffs. All his players are hurt. He's grumpy. Has not stopped to think about the 2000th game. It's what winners do. And he quoted Iron Mike Keenan yesterday. Paul Maurice did a line from Iron Mike that it's not whether you won or lost. It's are you winning or are you losing? I.e., what have you done for me lately? So, yeah. These hockey guys, I know how to deal with them, but I'll tell you, some of the people around here, the media, they get scared. Get back to me when you're not grumpy. We were talking about the Tiger Woods owned the golf league, and the final is tonight. So I tuned it in last night. It's 40 miles north of me. Everybody's been excited around here about that facility since it opened, the SoFi Center. So I watched last night on ESPN. Not for long. I don't really enjoy golf. I put it on real golf if I'm going to have a nap. This is a bunch of guys hitting into the screen in front of fans. It's just... Tony from the Bridge City writes in and says, good morning, Rod. I love my golf, as you know, and I really like playing in the simulators, especially in the winter. But I agree with Mitch and you. I can't get with the TGL League. Give me real golf on real grass and sand. Hey, great for them. Great for them. But I won't be tuning it in tonight. And again, I'm going to be at a hockey game. But let me do the sports update. A lot of things going on. A full slate of NHL games tonight, 15 of them. Has all 7 Canadian teams on the ice. The Montreal Canadiens host the Eastern Conference leading Carolina Hurricanes. That's very likely the game of the night. Toronto visits Boston. Ottawa takes their 3-game win streak into Detroit. Vegas visits Winnipeg. Calgary entertains Los Angeles. Edmonton travels to Ottawa. And Vancouver hosts Anaheim. Let me just pause this for a second because we opened the show talking about the big story in our world vis-a-vis the people on this show and the people watching this show, because we're all one, really is the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Mitch said he hasn't lost hope in the Oilers. I don't think the Oilers fans watching have lost hope in the Oilers. As it pertains to them, I don't, whatever, not going to affect my life. As far as Vegas, I'm never counting out a Kelly McCrimmon team. Just nope. No, you go ahead, Vegas fans. I'm not. The gentleman, Jeremy from Winnipeg, he's a Red Wings fan. He's written off the Wings. He says he's going to cheer for Boston now. That's fine. It's one thing to turn your back on your team like Tony from Cochrane, which I respect the hell out of. He's sent out a news release to all his friends that he's no longer cheering for the Cleveland Browns. He's a Houston Texans fan now. I respect that. It's another just to scrap the season and say, I'm done, I'll see you next year, which that's another thing altogether. And there are some other teams. But this wildness of the end of the regular season in the NHL, more than anything, I got to stop getting bitten hook, line, and sinker with the whole who do you think's going to get in, who's not going to get in. Who saw Columbus catching fire? The coaching change obviously made it happen, but I don't think it would work this well. Let's just sit back and enjoy it instead of predicting how it's all going to turn out, because quite frankly, there aren't too many people know, except for the man upstairs. NBA, R.J. Barrett had 27 points and 6 assists as the Toronto Raptors snapped a 2-game NBA losing skid with a 143-127 victory over the Utah Jazz. There are 4 games in the NBA tonight, including one in New York, where the Knicks will be looking to win 7 straight when they host the New Orleans Pelicans. Elsewhere, Orlando takes its 5-game losing streak to Cleveland. And that is your sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone. From jerseys to trading cards, Ultimate Fan Zone is your fan cave headquarters. Visit them in Moose Jaw or click over to ultimatefanzone.ca. We didn't even get to we got to most of the Quick Six Show topics, actually, so I'm proud of that. Get ready for the baseball. I mean, oh my God, I did write a few notes down here. So the MLB season opens. I'm wearing my Grapefruit League shirt because pretty soon the Grapefruit League games are going to be over. And Scott Belford will be joining us next hour. He's the very funny, he's a stand-up comedian, but also host of the Walkoff Podcast. He joined us from time to time last year talking about the Blue Jays run. It's funny when I bring on the baseball pundits and analysts, I want to talk about all of the divisions and all of the teams. If we always run out of time and just talk about the Blue Jays. And if that's what happens with Scott, that's fine. But with regards to all these things that are going on now, those teams, I'm going to tell you, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they had it so lucky. Pre-internet, they had an off season. It's insane right now. And remember what I was saying last week? I'm going to do a show called The Sauna Stories because of all the things that go on in the sauna. It would be a very entertaining show, believe me. So today, I'm talking with a guy that I just met not that long ago. And he knows I'm from Canada, so we're talking hockey. And there's a young man in between us, and he says, hey, you follow U.S. hockey? And I said, yeah. He goes, Zach Werenski's my best friend. I said, oh, Columbus Blue Jackets. He's like, yeah, we went to Grosse Pointe High School together up in Michigan, I believe. So we get talking, and I said, what are you into? He goes, oh, I'm going to the UFC here in a couple of weeks. I'm like, oh, my God, UFC. That goes year-round too, right? And it's in the Casilla Center, the home of the Heat. And he goes, I go to one sporting event a year. That's all. He's a young man. We didn't have any money when we were young. And he goes, I go to one event a year, so I paid $500, and even that's in the upper deck. I don't know how these sports leagues are getting away with it, but they're filling all the venues, so they're doing it. I said, shoot, we just had the World Baseball Classic last week. Cheapest ticket was $400. So you better have a lot of money if you're going to go to every single thing. because there's a lot going on right now. I would hope the tickets are cheap to go watch a bunch of guys pound golf balls into a screen. Tiger Woods or not. Oh, my God. Jason in Red Deer writes in, he goes, CFL Combine this weekend. I will be attending as media. How about that? So, too, will be Kevin the Medium. He'll be joining us live from Edmonton on this show Friday from the CFL Combine. So 1 day at a week, Grasshopper. 1 day at a time, Grasshopper. It's only Tuesday. Arlen Bruce checking in. Hey, AB. He says, hello, RP. Do you think that the sports we watch will change the scoring? Example, NHL gets a 2-pointer. NBA gets a 4 or 4-pointer. NFL gets a 4-pointer or 8-pointer. And he says, hey, RP, what about the CAF? Good memory, LOL. LOL, he writes. The CAF is the Canadian Arena League of Football. I don't even have the time. But what AB is referring to is there was some former NFL and CFL players that had this idea of an arena league, and they came to me to put it together. Here's our idea. You go do it. How about no? How about that? How about no? Would arena football go over well across Western Canada like gangbusters? I ain't doing it. The Canadian Arena League of Football, the CAF. We can all see the logo for the league right now, can we not? But, some people are talkers, some people are doers. And Mike Davis, who joins us every Friday from the Indoor Football League's Vegas Nighthawks, they're doing it in the States. I mean, you can sit around all day and talk. There's a lot of talkers out there. I know a lot more talkers than I do doers. I'd love to watch the Arena League of American Football, Canadian football, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm not doing it. My God. Here's an idea. You do all the work. We'll make all the money. Been there. Not signing up for that again. Anyways, get your baseball questions ready to go. Oh, man. I'm just thinking of the Rachel Holman interview yesterday. I said, what about the rock, touching the rock controversy, Rachel? What would you like me to say about it? There's a gal that doesn't suffer any BS. I'll tell you that for free. Let's just keep it rolling. We'll be right back after the break. 902-518-3033. If any of what we've been talking about tickles your fancy, let me know. And the YouTube chat, and we'll be right back after this on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, podcast, and WQVZ.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy,
through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
And we're off. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody. It's hour 2 on the Game Plus television network across Canada and 33 states. It's hour 1 on Silver State Sports as we welcome in viewers across Las Vegas and the Silver State of Nevada on the radio on the U.S. South, WQVZ. I'm your affable host, RP. Coming up today, our guest segment in the next segment brought to you by Prairie Panels. We'll tell you more about Prairie Panels in a moment. If you can't wait, you can go check them out right now at prairiepanels.ca. It's our good friend Scott Belford, a very entertaining guest. He's a stand-up comedian and host of the Walkoff Podcast. He's joined this show regularly in the past. This will be his first of 2026 as we get ready for the Major League Baseball season to open. And how about this? We got the Toronto Blue Jays hosting the Athletics, the homeless Athletics, soon to be the Las Vegas Athletics, Friday night to open the 2026 MLB season. So that's very exciting. Get your questions and comments in 902-518-3033. Spoiler alert, I saw the Blue Jays are 6th in the power rankings, if I take an aggregate or an average of all of them, and the A's 22nd. That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm seeing as we get ready for the start of the season. But you still got to play the games. Okay, where's my kazoo? Quick 6 show topics brought to you by Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the RP Show. It's the National Hockey League. It's the playoff race. It's a lot of exciting things going on, including 15 games tonight in the National Hockey League. That includes the Vegas Golden Knights at the Winnipeg Jets. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty in a lot of forms. And yes, I could sit here for hours on end and talk about the National Hockey League, but we got a lot of topics to get to before we bring in Scott Belford. So the poll question, maybe we'll start there. The poll question is, because I'm hearing a lot of hype about this, a lot of whining, especially over the last couple of years, about the playoff format. So let's just very simply say, should the playoff format in the National Hockey League be changed? And let me check the latest results. The poll question daily is brought to you by our friends at EMJ Marketing, Elite Keynote Speakers Bureau. What are they saying? 75% of people saying yes. Can I add an addendum on that? 75% of people's teams getting screwed by the current format, so they want it changed so they can get in. Similar to Tom Brady, the NFL stars losing in the flag football game on Saturday, so Tom wants the rules changed. Anyways, T-Dubs watching in Winnipeg, where we're very big in Winnipeg. He says, who in their right mind votes no to this question? The current NHL playoff format is absolutely brutal. In the meantime, Gary Bettman confirming last week again that it won't be changing. The playoff format will not be changing. 75% of people saying it should. Now, if you really want to get interesting, we talked about this last hour. I haven't heard it, but Scruffy was with us last hour co-hosting. He said that some people are bringing up a 1-16 format. If you're watching this show, you understand sports. I don't really need to go explain that to you, do you? Do I? If you go to NHL.com, click on standings and look at overall, they have the first team all the way down to the 32nd team. That's where you'll find Vancouver. But if you take the top 16, these are the matchups you would have if they did that. Colorado versus Utah in round 1. Dallas versus Philadelphia in round 1. Carolina versus Anaheim, which would be the furthest geographical difference of all of them. Buffalo, Ottawa. Minnesota, Detroit. And a classic Norris Division matchup. Tampa Bay versus the New York Islanders. Montreal against Columbus. And Boston versus Pittsburgh. Look, it's not happening, so I'm ready to move on from it. I had NHL people texting saying these are horrible matchups. It's not going to happen. But the gripe is that they should go to the top 8 teams on each side. And they're not doing that either. And the last thing I'll say about this is people that follow everything that I say and write have heard me say this before, but I'll just reconfirm it for those that haven't. Alan May was on this program last week, the Washington Capitals TV analyst. And I said, how do we feel that there's only 2 Canadian teams? How do we, in the playoff race, how do we feel that there's 7 new teams? He goes, who cares? The teams that get in will deserve it. And having said that, though, if you noticed, under the top 16 format, Edmonton and Vegas would not be included. So the hockey people know this. The people that don't know the hockey people, you're learning. This is the kinds of things that we sit around and talk about all the time. Like, for instance, this morning on NHL radio. Scott Laughlin saying, well, the Ottawa Senators would be in first place in the Pacific right now. And as you know, if my bike had a motor, it would be a motorcycle. See how I've changed that phrase? Trying to get with the times here. Speaking of Neil Chark, Uniglobe Carefree Travel, calling all Canadian sports fans, join Uniglobe Carefree's own Neil Chark for an action-packed weekend in Toronto, August 14th to 17th, staying right in the heart of the city. This unbeatable package includes round-trip flights, 3 nights accommodation, plus 2 Blue Jays games and a CFL game, Saskatchewan at Hamilton. It's an easy, fun, and stress-free way to experience the best of Canadian sports all in one unforgettable weekend. Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com or DM me, and I'll forward it. These sports trips are so much fun. And listen, I will say this. To quote George Strait, my life's been grand. I've seen just about every sports venue that I want to, but I will say Rogers Center, Blue Jays, that is a bucket list. You got to go watch the Blue Jays at Rogers Center. When I first went there in 1999 on a road trip for work, I just made a thermos of coffee and I just roamed around the whole stadium all day. That thing was an architectural marvel when it opened in 1989 and still is. And you can join with UniglobeCarefreeTravel.com. As a matter of fact, watch the Blue Jays in 2 games. 902-518-3033. As yet, no breaking news today. We can thank the Lord for that. We can stay on track. Greg's watching in Calgary. Writes in on the Western Dodge text line, 902-518-3033. Says, hey, Rod, I like the 1 versus 8 in each conference. Well, then you would be in the 75% that say that you'd like to see it changed. But I'll remind you that Gary Bettman says it ain't changing. And the biggest reason for that, we're led to believe, and the results would show us, it's for the geographic rivalries. Florida Panthers kind of dropping the ball a little bit this year. They're not making the playoffs, but that Battle of Florida was born out of this playoff format. And a lot of these great geographical rivalries in the National Hockey League, which, by the way, I don't know if I'll have time to get to it in this segment, but Paul Maurice coaching his 2,000th game in the National Hockey League tonight on the bench for the Florida Panthers. They're taking on Jordan Eberle and the Seattle Kraken, and by God's grace, I will be there. Thank you so much. I can't wait. Point 2. Both teams shook off some early miscues Monday night, but buckled down and delivered a back-and-forth thriller in Game 1, Match 1 of the finals of the Golf League. with the Los Angeles Golf Club winning 2 points on the final hole to earn the victory over Jupiter Lynx and go up 1-0 in the best-of-3 series with the SoFi Cup on the line. For a lot of people, this is like speaking Mandarin to you. And it would have been me, but we're talking about this indoor golf league owned and the brainchild of Tiger Woods. And both those teams, the Jupiter Golf Club and the LA Golf Club, are back at it tonight at SoFi Center in Jupiter with match 2. But there's a twist. Tiger Woods will be back in the lineup for the first time all season, looking to provide a spark for his Jupiter Lynx squad. Tiger, Max Homa, and Tom Kim will go against Justin Rose, Sahith Theegala, and Tommy Fleetwood. I tuned it in. Did you? We got a lot of great poll questions we could have had today. Have you watched the Golf League Finals? Will you watch the Golf League Finals? I'm just going to say it the way it is. That's why you're watching. We can't be into everything. I put it on last night. It was only one NHL game, and the Ottawa-New York Rangers game wasn't really peeling my banana. So I tuned this in, aside from seeing Matthew Tkachuk there showing off his gold medal and let's see ESPN presentation. I'm like, this is a bunch of guys smacking golf balls into a screen. I can go to any local simulator. But the one intuition that I had in my head was, Rod, golf people are really into this. And God bless them. But I'm not a golf person. Scott Belford coming up next. Baseball analyst, host of the Walkoff Podcast, and stand-up comic. Brought to you by Prairie Panels. They sponsor our guests daily. Prairie Panels is a Saskatchewan-based company specializing in high-quality construction panels and engineered building solutions. Whether it's for agricultural building, shop construction, or commercial projects, Prairie Panels brings innovative, durable products backed by local expertise. If you're looking for building materials you can trust, from steel panels to structural solutions, be sure to check them out, prairiepanels.ca. It's only 0.3, and we're 10 minutes into the hour. How many days of the week are you willing to give the NFL, like to actually watch games? As you all know, it started with Sundays, and then they moved it to the very popular Monday Night Football. Not long after that came Thursdays. Last couple of weeks, we've had Black Friday games, Saturdays on Christmas, playoff games on the Saturdays, of course. Well, get ready to devote your Wednesdays now to NFL regular season games. The NFL is going to kick off the 2026 season on a Wednesday night, according to the Wall Street Journal. Meanwhile, there are rumblings that the league is exploring playing a game on Thanksgiving Eve, which is, of course, a Wednesday. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Have you noticed? Maybe you haven't. Every time that we bring up the NFL on this show, the comments go crazy, no matter what the topic. Even last hour when I broached this subject the first time. And the opinions on the NFL playing Wednesday night games were polar opposites, which frankly I think is exactly what the NFL wants. Most of the leagues, I can tell you from experience, don't want the controversy. They don't want people mad at them. They don't want it. The NFL doesn't care. They're just that big. They're, I think, unruinable. They're infallible. Basically, can you imagine having that much power, by the way? They want to play Wednesday? We're going to play Wednesday. I just think of this, and this isn't new to me, but I remember a few years ago for our Canadian viewers, Nathan Rourke, the star, really is the face of the Canadian Football League right now, was under contract for the upcoming season with the BC Lions, but the NFL wanted him. And the Lions general manager, the BC Lions general manager at the time, Neil McAvoy, says if the NFL wants him, he'll get him. They wanted him, they got him. Right? Just whatever they want, they get. Be positive. It's 1:11 Eastern for the live viewers, 11:11 Mountain. If you observe, if you're going to overthink positively. Give that a chance, because how's the alternative working for you? That would be another great secondary poll question. Should the NFL go to Wednesday games? You're all going to vote no, and they're going to do it anyways. Case closed. 902-518-3033. That is the text line for Western Dodge, our good and longtime friends. Are you looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. If you're looking, by the way, for lunch or supper plans, Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn has you covered. Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early and stay late at the place where friends meet. They bring you our picks every day, and we've got our NHL picks upcoming. And I'm going to remind you, I've been 100% the last 2 nights of picking NHL games. I'm getting dialed in. Darren writes in from Melfort with some clarity on all of this. Thank you, Darren, for doing so. He goes, Rod, the TGL golf is basically a party for the stars to come out. Tiger will bring the ratings through the roof tonight. They must be doing something right because they are bringing a women's league into it. Not as much fun as being there, but I sit on my couch and make some bets while I watch. Hey, I was talking to a very nice lady who's probably watching right now, my new friend. I don't want to name her. She did like the shout out yesterday, though. But she kind of said, can you explain the show? Because she's new to it. And I said, well, we're all about what's relevant, what's hot, but we're also about inclusion. We're about kindness, open-mindedness. All of these things are very rare nowadays. So if you want to watch the TGL League and a bunch of guys smacking golf balls into a screen, God bless you. There's not enough time to be into everything. That's why we got so deflated this morning when the young man I was sitting beside in the sauna mentioned that he dropped $500 on a UFC ticket. Oh my God, you have UFC? Good for you. It's not like I don't like UFC. I came back from Las Vegas to, I can't remember which UFC battle it was. My dad was like, how was it? I said, oh my God, Dad. The music was so loud in that Michelob Arena and MGM Grand. I said, my face was shaking. He's like, I wouldn't go to that. Guess what, Dad? They don't want you to. Jason in Red Deer writes, and he says, I can't afford to attend a live golf event, so really watching a real game on a TV screen is really no different than watching players hit into a screen. I'm not poo-pooing it. I watched it, okay? I'm not sitting here dumping on TGL League. I'm just saying, if pretty low on my list behind Forensic Files. We spent half the show talking about it today, so who's the dumb one? Me, clearly. Oh, point 4, the NBA. I love this. All I'm going to say, because we don't have time to get in. Rachel yesterday, when I asked her about the touching the rock controversy at the Olympics, she's like, what do you want me to say about it? So I'm like this with the NBA. What do you want me to say about it? But I know that people are into it. And as we get closer to the playoffs, we will. But the MLB season's starting up this week, and Scott Belford joins us next to talk about it right here on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Your teams, the biggest stories. Join Mike Davis and Mariah Janos live at 2 p.m. daily here on Silver State Sports as they tackle the biggest stories in Vegas sports. And, of course, we broadcast across Canada on Game Plus TV. Scott Belford joining us from the Walkoff Podcast, also a stand-up comedian, which I love. Where are you joining us today from, Scott?
I am actually in Halifax right now. I'm playing the club here, Halifax Live, Friday, Saturday. So let's start with a little plug there. Nicely done.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. And before we even get to the sports, I do want to talk about comedy in a second. But I'm not sure you've been on with us since we've gone to air across Nevada. So would you mind telling our Nevada viewers just your story in 45 seconds or less?
Sure, absolutely. I started in radio and eventually had to MC a comedy show as the radio host. And as I was doing that weekly, sort of fell in love with the idea of telling jokes and getting laughs. And that's the difference between radio and stand-up, right? Instant gratification. So I kind of fell in love with the instant laugh of it all. And eventually moved to a big city to pursue stand-up comedy. And now I'm 18 years into this. Whether it's a poor choice or not, time will tell.
and doing the Walkoff Podcast and a really good job of it. I love your baseball analysis. But I want to say this. I went to a spiritual fair in West Palm Beach about a month or so ago, and one of the ladies that was putting it on, she's like, go home and watch something funny tonight. And I fell into this deep dive of old videos on Instagram of Rodney Dangerfield, Larry the Cable Guy. I just laughed. I laughed. I don't know if Dangerfield's my favorite, but he's up there. Who is your favorite all-time stand-up comic?
Favorite all-time stand-up? I mean, honestly, it's very similar to listening to music pretty extensively, as it does change as you grow and you develop new tastes and stuff. Right now, I'm just a big fan of Bill Burr and his anti-billionaire stuff, and is just like, I know he's the biggest comic in the world right now, but I get a real kick out of that old man playing the angry old man card all the time. It is a fun one. But growing up, I just some of the comics that I love the most growing up are no longer to be mentioned. I was a big Cosby man when I was a little kid. I'd play his records, and I remember going to a live show with my grandma and just how he kind of broke down generations, and being able to appeal to such a wide age range was really great and very cool to me. And then I always loved Carlin too, George Carlin, just how he progressed throughout his career. He was so goofy and silly and fun in the 70s, and then went through his his divorce and his drug habit in the 80s and then was anti-government in the 90s. It was just a really fun arc to watch a guy constantly change.
Well, I I had the original Andrew Dice Clay cassette, and I left it in my car, like in the deck in my car. And my dad was driving my car one morning, and he comes home. He's like, "You like that guy?" And I'm like, "Dad, he's not serious." Yeah, he's hilarious, but he's like the filthiest comic of all time. Dad was like, "How could I even have raised you?" Anyways, enough of all of that. Scott, are the Blue Jays going back to the World Series? That was our poll question yesterday, and 55% of respondents said yes. What would you vote?
Boy, there's a lot of Canadians in this poll, obviously. Listen, I'm an eternal optimist, and after last year's run, it just reinvigorated the love of baseball in the Great White North, right? And so there were so many Blue Jays fans whose fandom had been pushed down because they were such a bad team for so long and just didn't really give everyone a chance to like bite their teeth into it and really get to fall in love with that team. And that's what happened last year. I think that they are on paper going into this year a better team, a more well-rounded team, a deeper team than they were last year. But Rod, you know baseball, it is such a battle of attrition. It's 162 games. The Blue Jays are in the most difficult division in all of baseball in the AL East. The Yankees are still absolute behemoths. The Red Sox are better than they were last year. There's no way the Orioles underperform again like they did last season. And of course, the Tampa Bay Rays, it's tough to even write them off. So they're in a real battle just to win this division again. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? I really, truly do. I think that there isn't, they'd need some really bad juju and some really bad injuries to not at least get to the dance again, you know, to at least give themselves the opportunity to get to the World Series. That said, if I was putting my money on it, you know, I probably give the Blue Jays a 25% chance coming out of the American League, you know, which is a 1 out of 4. It's pretty good.
Do you put any stock at all in the power rankings? And the reason I ask is I follow the NFL, NHL, and CFL very deeply, and MLB when the Jays are winning. That's just me. I'm just being honest. So I don't need to go to the power rankings from the other leagues. I can see it myself. But when I read the MLB power rankings, they're kind of all over the place, and a lot of them have the Jays winning the East, just the pennant. And they got, by the way, with Nevada getting the Athletics soon, I was mentioning at the top of the show, the Athletics were ranked 22nd in most power rankings that I saw. Blue Jays were 6th. Do you go along with those?
First of all, I would love to hear your opinion after I'm finished, because my opinion is that the power rankings are pretty irrelevant. I think they give a rough idea of the pulse of where the game is at. That said, I don't follow them too closely or buy too much into it. Personally, I actually think the Athletics are going to be better than they're touted this year. I think the Athletics are probably going to take another step forward. We watched them definitely put more wins on the board last year than maybe a lot of pundits had given them credit for possibly being able to do. And I love that the Athletics, not that this is supposed to be an athletics segment, but you brought them up. I like all of the extensions that they've done with this young core of players they've got. I think that the Toronto Blue Jays sometimes get overlooked in power rankings just because they are the, you know, redheaded stepchild from the North. So are they higher in my rankings than 6th? I kind of think they are. I think that they're right there with the Yankees and the Mariners for top seed in the American League. And I think that they're right there with the Dodgers and the Mets and, you know, some of those heavy hitters in the National League.
Bro, you could talk for 20 minutes about the Athletics if you want, because we're airing in Nevada, and that's the A's are coming to this channel, Silver State Sports. They'll be carrying the games. So yeah, absolutely, by all means. And it's fun to talk baseball. I mean, that's the one thing I get from our viewers, especially the new ones. Like, this show is so refreshing. You're not talking about all the same as all the other channels. I'm like, yeah, whatever. We enjoy it. It works for us. And by the way, some of the viewers have comedy questions for you, so I will get to that in a second. I'm with you. You don't need to, with the power rankings being bunk, I only talk about it because everybody talks about it. But did anybody have Seattle and New England meeting in the Super Bowl? None of the pundits had that.
No.
Like nobody. Right?
Did anyone have
So
Seattle and the Blue Jays meeting in the ALCS? Like, no.
No, not at all. No, not at all. And actually, speaking of all that, speaking of Seattle, you saw the hubbub between Randy Rosiana and Cal Raleigh coming out of the World Baseball Classic. And I kind of wonder what your take was on the WBC. Because I'm sitting here in South Florida. It was the mecca of it all. The final was here. The biggest games were here. It was awesome. But
personally,
how did it feel? Yeah, what did you think of it?
Rod, I absolutely loved it. I think it's really growing as one of the international sports tournaments out there into something that people want to see. You know, when it first came out, it really played second fiddle to a lot of those other international tournaments. When you're talking like stuff like way behind FIFA, way behind hockey, when you're talking the Olympics, way behind a lot of these other international sports, and they've done a really good job of building this up and making the world care about it. And honestly, after watching the WBC this year, going back to watching spring training games, ugh, disgusting. I was like, I want nothing to do with spring training games after seeing these guys who are like playing for their country and care, giving it their all in March. And it's tough to find folks giving it their all in March in baseball.
People said that about the Olympics with the hockey. They got all ramped up with that, and then they got to watch NHL regular season. I totally get it. But the one thing that annoys me a lot, and a lot of things annoy me, Scott, that's why I meditate. But they want to move the WBC to the midseason. And I'm like, why would you do this? You've just had the biggest ratings ever. You've had sold out ballparks. Let's move it. What the hell's wrong with these guys? What would you vote on in the timing of it for the next one?
You know, I get both sides of it because I do understand the idea of moving it to the middle of the season because their pitchers are going to be ramped up. They're going to be at full strength. They're going to be in midseason form. So the baseball is just going to be better. It's going to be very similar to when hockey did their mid-season shutdown and went to the Olympics. But also, I hate the killing of momentum of a season like a mid-season stop does, right? It's bad enough in baseball that they shut it down for the All-Star break for 9-10 days, right? Like I just let's it's a long enough season as it is. I mean, baseball as it is just you better not overreact to the little thing that happens.
Yeah, well, here's welcome to my life. So if it was up to the marketing people, they'll keep it where it is. If it was up to the baseball people, they'll move it. And the marketing people usually get their way. So I think it'll stay where it is. But when you ask, how do I feel about the power rankings? I go back and forth because the pundits and the guys in the press box are all talking about power rankings. I don't care what the league is, NFL, NHL, they all are. But then you go down and talk to the coaches. What do you think of the power rankings? They're like, what the hell are you paying attention to that for? They don't mean anything.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Why do I keep getting sucked into this all the time? But that's what happens when you go back and forth between the two worlds because they don't talk. They don't talk just when they get together for interviews, but they're not friends. Anyways, New York sports teams, Mets and Yankees. Yankees kind of going to always be there, and the Mets still trying to buy a World Series. Are they going to have a sniff this year?
I kind of like what the New York Mets did this offseason. I think that they really revamped and listen, it's easy to dismiss chemistry in sports, right? Like, is it really a thing? Is there such a thing as a good locker room? And I think that locker room chemistry does really depend on how much you're winning as well. But there was obviously something off in that Mets locker room. So I think moving some of their core pieces like Brandon Nimmo over to Texas and bringing in an experienced guy, a veteran dude like Marcus Semien, I think a fresh face in Bo Bichette. I mean, how he plays third base is still to be determined, but my goodness, is that ever a big bat to add to the middle of that lineup? I think Pete Alonso moving on, it's just going to give them a fresh feel, and that's really what I think the Mets needed. Now, the payroll is insane, Rod. Like, you are well aware. You can look at the numbers and be like, a team paying this much money for their team should have a lot more wins than they did in 2025. And so obviously you got to play the games, but my prediction is that the Mets bounce back from last season. They're back in the playoffs and they're putting a winning product on the field. How they play out in the playoffs, how this all winds up in the end, Time will tell, but just on paper and my gut feeling is that they're going to be a much better team this year.
Well, it is a Dodgers-worthy payroll, you're right, but without the results, it's wild. Greg in Calgary's watching. He says, hey, Rod, can you ask Scott which dark horse team can make a run? I guess the Jays would have been that team last year. Do you see somebody coming out? Everybody's giving the Dodgers the NL. Are they not?
Yeah, everyone seems to be giving the Dodgers the NL, but you know what? There are some teams that I am very curious about. I really like what the Cincinnati Reds are doing, and they're in kind of a weaker division in that NL Central. I like the addition of Eugenio Suarez. That puts a real power bat in the middle of that lineup, and they did it for $14 million on a one-year contract, and I'm sure you feel the same way, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think there's such a thing as a bad one-year contract, especially even though some people think that it's taking a bit of a risk with him being 34. But, you know, he hit 50 home runs last year. Let's see what he does, right? So I like the Reds. And then in the AL, I think that the Tigers could be a much better team than people are giving them credit for. I know everyone's expecting them to move Tarek Skubal come the trade deadline, but I think they're going to be in the hunt for that Central Division. Again, the AL Central is also a weak division, and I think that they have the pitching going out and getting Framber Valdez in free agency and then having Skubal, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, as a 1-2, both from the left-hand side. Pretty scary stuff, and if the Tigers can put some offense together on the field, I think that they could surprise some people.
Next time we'll talk about the looming work stoppage. They just told me we only got 2 minutes, so I think we have a little more than 2 minutes, actually. Corey, can you check the time? Actually, I will ask, because you can't – everybody brings up the MLB season. Yeah. So is there going to be – this is the last baseball season for a while or what? We will ask that, and then I'll ask you the comedy question.
So I won't go into too many details. I know we're tight on time here, but I do worry that after all of this good progress baseball has made to put itself back as one of the top sports when it comes to viewership, all of the rule changes to cut down time, all of the interest and how the game is skewing younger and younger and bringing in young fans again for the first time in so long. It is worrisome to see all of a sudden this coming to a head again. You know, like I was a kid in 94, and honestly, Rod, I stopped watching baseball for almost until my early 20s. Like, it really did ruin it for me for like 8-9 years of just like, so it would be devastating if they did. Do I think that they're going to really push it? Yes, I do. Whether they're going to, they'll miss actual baseball. I don't think they'll miss the whole season, but I mean, baseball is great at screwing themselves over. So, I mean, we'll see.
Money, the root of all evil. Scott Belford, stand-up comic and host of the Walkoff Podcast. John Ohm in Winnipeg wants to know if you're coming through Winnipeg. Can you give us your tour sched here coming up?
I am actually coming through Winnipeg. I'm going to be there May 7th. I'm still waiting on the venue to firm up, so I'm not 100% where I'm playing, but then I'm going to be at the brewery in Gimli, Manitoba, and I'm also playing Brandon, Manitoba. So for all the Manitoba listeners, yeah, absolutely. 7th, 8th, 9th of May. Come check it out.
Oh, wow, Scott Belford. Okay, well, and between now and then, what's popping? You're in Halifax tonight. What club are you at for people that want to go?
In Halifax, I'm playing Halifax Live, they're called. I'm in Bedford playing Propeller Brewery on Thursday, so before the weekend here. And then I fly back to Alberta. I'm playing a casino in Grand Prairie. I've got a show in Saskatchewan, in Eston. Yeah, Eston,
nice.
Saskatchewan. Yes.
Not to be confused with Estevan. Home of
not
the
to be
Ramblers.
confused with Estevan. Don't you confuse those two.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And then, and then back to Toronto for some shows.
Wow. Okay. 2 minutes left, he tells me. So where can people check out your stuff, Scott?
Well, you can see my stuff if you go to the Belf on Instagram. That's where you're going to find a lot of my reels and a lot of my stuff like that. You can also check out the podcast. And honestly, I'm on the road so much, Rod. I play places I tour Canada nonstop. I do cruise ships pretty regularly, so I'm around.
All right. Well, somewhere between all of that, you find time to host the Walkoff Podcast. And what do you got going on there lately?
So we actually have from Sportsnet joining us, Show Ali on the Friday show here. I run a show every single Tuesday and every single Friday. Every Friday is a guest, whether it's an analyst or a ball player. I also run these live shows called Baseball Town. I had one in Dunedin for spring training in March, sold it out. We had David Schneider and Riley Tirada and a couple other guys from the minor league system on the show, and then some of the top analysts. So if you're in Toronto, I run those Baseball Town shows all summer long. So keep an eye out for that because they're always a ton of fun. Kind of integrating what I do live entertainment wise with the podcast side of things. It's fun.
Yeah, awesome, man. I saw that it was sold out, so good for you. Well, break a leg tonight. Thanks for the time as always. Keep in touch and enjoy the baseball.
Always a pleasure, Mr. Pedersen. Whenever I get to talk to you, I know it's my favorite time of the year, so it's good to see you.
And he's a good fibber, too. Scott Belford, stand-up comic and host of the Walkoff Podcast, everybody. Go check him out. We'll be coming right back with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. You're watching the RP Show on Silver State Sports across Nevada and across Canada on Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We still got to get to our NHL picks, and we will probably in overtime, brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. I said there were some comments from the viewers that we were going to read once Scott Belford had joined. Brent is watching in the Bridge City. He writes in, he says, the RP show is a microcosm of the way the world should be. See if it's a positive comment, supportive. We'll read it. What did I say? As I was explaining to my new friend MK, this show is about what's hot, what's relevant, but it's also about common sense, kindness, inclusion. That's what we do here. So that kind of rolls into this comment about the TGL, the golf league, the Tiger Woods brainchild that he owns up in Jupiter. The finals, the league finals are on. Did you know? I actually tuned it in last night. I didn't really enjoy it. I don't get it, but David is watching in the peg. David number 2. He writes in, he says, TGL, I don't get it, but then people watch poker on TV. Hey, listen, I don't want to sit here and say that I'm poo-pooing it, because that's not what I just said. We're all about inclusion. I checked it out. It's for some people. It's not for me. I'll tell you what is the Sweet 16 March Madness. The Sweet 16 is going to have a definite SEC feel with 6 teams advancing from that conference to the second weekend of March Madness. Top seed South Carolina and Texas cruised into the regional semifinals of the women's NCAA tournament and are joined by number 2 seeds Vanderbilt and LSU, number 4 Oklahoma, and number 5 Kentucky. Both of the 1 seeds will have all SEC matchups, with the Gamecocks facing the Sooners, the lone team to beat them in the regular season during conference play. But it wasn't only SEC teams that had a good first weekend in the tournament. UConn remains the lone unbeaten in women's college basketball and has reached the Sweet 16 in 32 consecutive years. And as we've been talking about, not just today, but like every day, today's sports world, last Thursday's opening round coverage of the March Madness tournament was the most watched ever per CBS and TNT. The 16-game slate drew an average of 9.8 million viewers, while the primetime games specifically averaged 12.5 million. So I've said it a lot. I don't know where here's my pen. It's the hype machine, man. The one thing about March Madness is it only really goes for a month. I was saying to Jersey Jim, he was down here staying with me a couple of times, but one of those times I said, Jimmy, what's bigger in the U.S., college basketball or the NHL? And he's like, oh, college basketball. It's just the way that it is. The one thing that I've learned about this show is I think people are tuning in for the hockey talk, which reminds me we will get to that right away. I apologize for those that didn't get their questions into Scott Belford, or I did, like you got them in. I didn't read them to him. I apologize for that. But the MLB season is fun. Just a little bit about the age. I have to remind myself every time I talk to Moose on the phone and remind him what was going on earlier times in the world when he wasn't even around yet. I'm like, we used to only have 1 hockey game a week on television. 1 game a week. Saturday night, 1 game. It was a really big deal when they went to a doubleheader. You know, I'm talking to these sports people all the time. They're trying to get noticed and get into your pocketbook on a daily basis. It ain't easy these days. March Madness seems to be doing it, though, just fine. The sports update is brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store. Get your game day gear in store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. We're going to need a lot of time in the overtime segment coming up next because we got 15 games in the National Hockey League tonight. That's the only thing where I would disagree with Alan May when he said the teams that again will deserve it, that get into the playoffs will deserve it. Let's not worry about how they get there. And it's like, well, to sit back and just enjoy it doesn't do a whole lot when you're filling hours of sports talk on a daily basis. So you do go 1 game at a time. And for 30 teams tonight, that game's tonight, including a very big one here in Sunrise where Paul Maurice will coach his 2000th game in the National Hockey League. Only Scotty Bowman's coached more. I'll tell you my thoughts on that game. The Vegas Golden Knights finally snapped a 3-game losing streak, beating Dallas on Sunday. They're in Winnipeg tonight. That's all part of a very busy night in the National Hockey League. So When we come back for overtime right after this, we'll get to all of those picks, brought to you, as it always is, by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. I don't know why it just popped into my head. UFL is starting this weekend, too, the United Football League. Can you believe it? Do you have time for that? We'll be right back here in Silver State Sports and Game Plus.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody, for Overtime. For our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes there in Calgary, the Flames are home tonight to the LA Kings, part of the 15 games, so we'll get to that right away. But if you're heading to Calgary, check out Overtime Hockey Lanes like Kirk from Toronto's family did on the weekend. Thank you, Kirk, for that. Thanks for sending him down there. Of course, they had a great time. That was the report where skill and fun collide. An amusement park for hockey players. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Tell Randy and Michelle that the RP show sent you. Would help us out a lot. Okay, here's the games in the NHL tonight. 15 of them. Most of them are big, including this one, Ottawa, Detroit. Two teams trying to nail down an Eastern spot. The Sens just played last night in New York and won. They'll be a little tired. I'm going with the Wings tonight to win that one. Toronto at Boston. Everybody beats the Leafs. Chicago at the Islanders. definitely Islanders. At this point, we can go with the teams that need it the most. I really feel that way. Colorado at Pittsburgh. Colorado is just too good. Plus, the Penguins embarrassed them in their barn a couple of weeks back. Colorado's going to be looking to return the favor tonight. Seattle at Florida. The Panthers players will want to get Paul Maurice a victory in his 2000th game. They love him. Panthers win tonight. Columbus Blue Jackets at the Philadelphia Flyers. Jackets, the hottest team in the NHL right now. I got to go with them, don't you? Montreal, Carolina, ole, ole, ole. The Habs just got it going right now. Montreal is the pick from this show. Minnesota at Tampa Bay. The Bolts are going to want to be proving that they're all that. They've been on a pretty good run. They've straightened it out after struggling after the Olympics. I think the Lightning will win at home tonight over Minnesota. Did I mention I was 100% the last 2 nights of picks? You know that I always say when I suck, so I'm going to point it out when I win. Vegas at Winnipeg, definitely Golden Knights. Washington at St. Louis. The Caps still think they have a chance. They actually think they have a chance. They're going to go play like it in St. Louis tonight. Washington will win. New Jersey Devils at Dallas. Stars in a battle for playoff positioning. They are actually the hottest team in the NHL, hotter than Columbus. I'll take the Stars to beat the Devils tonight. San Jose at Nashville. 2 hot teams there, too. The Predators came out of nowhere. I think they'll win tonight at home over the Sharks. LA Kings at Calgary. Largely a friends and family game. Only friends and family care, but I'll take the Kings. Edmonton Oilers at Utah. Hello. The Oilers should be sponsored by Pot of Gold Chocolates because you never know what you're going to get. I'm taking Utah. And the Anaheim Ducks at the Vancouver Canucks. It's Anaheim. Don't even waste my time. You know, it's interesting, by the way, when Scruffy was talking earlier about the best 2 coaches in the NHL residing here in Florida, and I don't disagree. But I'm seeing what the pundits are saying. I've spent a lot less time on what the pundits are saying lately, but they're saying Joel Quenneville will win the Coach of the Year, which he should. I think the Ducks are leading the Pacific Division. Do you really need to know what a difference coaching makes? We talked about this yesterday with Rick Pitino's got St. John's going to the Sweet 16 for the first time since 1999. Rick Pitino coaching makes a difference. How John Cooper's never been a finalist for the Coach of the Year in the NHL makes no sense to me. And you'd have to, sit him down, probably pour a bunch of booze into him to see if he would admit that it bothers him. Because he's got his Stanley Cups. He's got his 4 Nations gold medal. But it's going to be a hell of a race. Maybe that would be a good poll question tomorrow. Who should win NHL Coach of the Year? It would be, unfortunately, with the Panthers missing the playoffs and Paul Maurice admitting that he's grumpy about it, it ain't going to be Paul Maurice, even though we think he's the top coach in the game. It'd be John Cooper, Joel Quenneville, Jared Bednar probably. Be a fun discussion tomorrow. Hey, Brent. Checking in from Wellington, Florida. He says he's looking forward to Paul Maurice's tribute tonight. Me too. They teased this video that they've produced for him on his prior 1,999 games. We're going to want to get there early tonight in sunrise to watch this vaunted video for Paul Maurice. Said it choked him up a little bit. So that being one of 15 games in the National Hockey League tonight. Oh, NBA, just 4. Sacramento at Charlotte, New Orleans at New York, Orlando at Cleveland, Denver at Phoenix. What's Vegas going to do when they get their team? I guess they're not going to be a Suns town anymore. I go back to the Canadian curling champion Rachel Holman yesterday when I asked her about the curling touching the rock controversy at the Olympics. What would you like me to say about it? She doesn't suffer fools like me real well. That's like me with the NBA. What would you like me to say about it? We'll get into it more once we get to the playoffs. How we doing on time, Core? Okay. Big thank you to Scott Belford again. Major League Baseball season getting underway. He's got higher hopes for the Athletics than the pundits do. And, of course, we're all Blue Jays fans around here. Tomorrow, just to get you ready, it's me solo in hour one. The Larry King of Sports Talk. That's me solo in hour one for those that will be tuned in on Game Plus TV. Gloria in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You're on the air. Hello. That's tomorrow. And Janice Taylor from Wilson 4Q was so popular last week, and that interview was so powerful, she's coming back for part 2 tomorrow to finish it off. And to frankly, get to all the things that she didn't have time for last week. So Janice Taylor will be with us tomorrow, and me fielding your messages, calls, let's say, in hour one with a very busy time in sports at hand. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow here on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
That